Hello. Oh. That's going in now. No, that's going in now.
No, that's going in now. I'm doing like a warm-up exercise.
Yeah. Hello, and welcome to TSTV, a show in which I, Sadie, guide my friend Lily through the wild world of Twin Peaks. Today we're talking about Twin Peaks: The Return Part 7, also known as, and I gotta say, as far as giving the episodes a weird alt title based on a sentence in the episode, this is a clunky one. There's a body, all right. Lily, how's it going?
It's not too bad. I'm kind of at the tail end of a very busy time here. You know me. I love to say yes to 20 things. So
Oh yeah, you really do.
yeah, I really do. So I'm kind of getting ready to like give a talk at a conference tomorrow, and then
Oh fuck yeah.
yeah, trying to finish this video. Honestly, dude, for me, it's not about how I've been. It's about how I'm gonna be, which is
That's so true.
well rested and pleased. And I'm gonna watch so many movies next week, and that's all that matters.
Fuck
How are
yeah.
you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'll tell you what's been up with me. I moved in with my
Yeah.
beautiful girlfriend,
Beautiful girlfriend.
and that's sick as fuck.
Dude, it's so cool.
Yeah, we have not recorded in quite a few weeks. It's been another break because I was moving, and then I was a bit sicky, and now I'm better from with a little cough still.
Whoop.
Better from sicky, but I also got a like asthma puffer thing because I was like, maybe I have asthma, and I gotta say, it helps a lot. So that's one of my updates.
Wait, okay. Medical advice corner. How were you able to just get an asthma puffer? I've been bugging my doctor about this.
He prescribed one when
Oh.
I described everything that was going on, and he was like, "This does sound like it definitely could be asthma." And he
Well,
was
damn.
like, he set me up for a test and gave me a puffer because he said it has like not the side effects are not that serious, so like as a precaution. And then if I do test positive for asthma, then I get to keep it.
Love that. Wow.
Yeah.
Mine wants to send me for like testing and shit.
Yeah,
Doctors. The doctor.
That's so
It's
true.
so cool that you have now moved to this beautiful
I
house.
know.
What's it like so far? I mean, this is your first time like living with a partner, right?
Honestly, kind of epic as fuck. I feel like it's been feeling more normal, I guess, than I expected, if that makes sense. Like it's just kind of felt
Yeah.
like a natural progression of, you know, how we have been spending time together. Also, I'm recording in my new office, which does not yet have art and stuff or stuff on the walls. And I have draped some blankets and tapestries on objects around, but if I sound a bit more echoey than usual, that's why.
You've got a pretty swanky little enormous blanket cave kind of
Yeah,
situation happening.
yeah.
I'm sure we're fine.
But yeah, it's been really nice. And like honestly, I feel like when I moved into my last apartment in like end of 2020 in somewhat tempestuous circumstances, it took me like months to like get the place set up, you know? And we've been here like 2-3 weeks, and it's like there's still final things to do, but it really has like the shape of a normal apartment that people live in, and it's been very pleasant how well it's been coming together.
That's wonderful. Oh, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. I love it.
Also, something in terms of like media and whatnot that I can talk about, I can
Mhm.
tell you one thing that we have been doing living together is I wanted us to do like a thing that people call like 1 year of War and Peace. So we've been reading the famous Russian novel War and Peace because it has 361 chapters, and each chapter is
Wow.
like 2 to 5 pages long. So every night before
Oh.
bed, we make a little sleepy time tea, and I read out loud to Maya one chapter of War and Peace.
What? That is
Yeah.
so cute. That is
Yeah.
so sweet.
It's good as fuck. We're like 10 chapters in. It's really fun so far.
That's awesome. So what is War and Peace like about? I mean, other than the obvious.
Well, like I said, I'm kind of just 10 chapters in, but so far, look at all these people. I made a joke on Blue Sky that we're also rewatching Hunter x Hunter, and that is a show in which the mangaka Togashi is just like, look at all my guys. I came up with so many guys. Don't you like them? And War and Peace is also like that so far. It's just like, look at this family. Here's a bunch of them. They're all at a party. This guy's being kind of embarrassing. It had a great bit of like, there's one guy who we meet and he's pissing off the Russian aristocracy because he's like, I do like Napoleon actually, and the values
Oh.
of freedom. And they're like, what the fuck is this guy's problem? And then he's hanging out with his friend, and his friend is like, I hate my wife. And his wife is like, can you be nice to me? And he's like, no. And then he's like, by the way, Pierre is the guy who loves Napoleon. He's like, promise me, Pierre, that you will stop going to that shithead Count Anatole's parties. And Pierre is like, I promise you. And then he leaves. And then he's like, wait, but I promised Anatole I would go to his party. Well, I guess
Oh
I should
my.
keep my earlier promise. And then he goes to the party and gets really drunk. And the scene ends with him being like, let's go out, and we have a bear with us. And then the next chapter is like a little time skip forward, and it's other Russian socialites, and they're like, can you believe what happened? We heard that Pierre went out with a bear and tied it to the back of a policeman and threw them both in the river.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So far it's just kind of various Russian socialites, like aristocracy, having like parties and little insinuations of romance and insinuations of schemes. And one or
Okay.
two of them are like, I will go to war. I'm not worried about it. And I assume that all of that will develop into dramatic romances and schemes, and they'll have a bad time going to war. But that hasn't happened yet.
It sounds kind of soapy, honestly.
Yeah, definitely.
That's cool.
The other thing I will say is I watched with Maya. Maya showed me the movie All About Eve. Do you know this movie?
I do not know this movie.
It is from 1950 on the dot. It was actually Marilyn Monroe's first movie. She has a very small part. She
Whoa.
appears for like a scene, but it is about a like aging star, like a Broadway star. And this young woman, Eve, is like, I love you so much. I just want to help you, and gets like kind of taken in as her like live-in like assistant. It's a little bit gay, but then Eve is like trying to take over her life. Honestly, I won't say too much about it because I think it would be a great movie for us to watch for TSTV DVD. It has a very like, feels very of a piece with Sunset Boulevard in terms of like being very interested in what it is like to be an aging star.
Oh, that's huge. I love that. They also came out the same year, I think. Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, that's me. I know we started a bit late. I don't know if you want to talk more about any stuff with you, or we can just jump into Twin Peaks.
You know what? I will say one thing, which is that I too have started a new thing.
Oh, a new thing.
But for me, it is a television series. I've been watching with Vic Malcolm in the Middle for the first time.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah, I don't know what prompted it. I guess like that revival is out, so people are talking about it again. Oh, I think it was like Vic's coworkers were all, abuzz. This was a show that everyone in my house growing up was watching except for me, and I just assumed it was like kind of a whatever kids show about being a kid. It's like fantastic. It's like shockingly good and like a genuine like family show, where I don't feel like I'm being talked down to or whatever. Probably I'm the last person on earth to have watched this show, so I won't say too much, but I will say I just really love the depiction of like this family without much money and like how their kind of class impacts their worldview. They're very practical, kind of unsentimental people. It's a very unsentimental show in general. Everyone is kind of only looking out for themselves and
interesting,
like a little bit scheming and conniving, but they do all love each other. That in the context of Malcolm, he's in like the gifted program and he's kind of the one like odd man out. Honestly, it feels a lot less aspirational and a lot more honest than I guess the kids shows that were on like when I was a kid. Like we didn't have like satellite, but my grandmother would mail us tapes, or my dad would like pirate stuff. Like the iCarlys and the Drake and Joshes. Everyone had these huge houses. Everyone was like living the dream life. This is some parents who can like just barely afford to have their house and whatever. And obviously Bryan Cranston is like one of he's like a generational talent, and it is so funny to see him as like the goofiest man, but also like pretty sexy.
Hell yeah. That dad better not ever break bad one day.
Oh, he would never. Yeah, so I guess that's me. I'm only like part of the way through season 1 right now, but I'm eager to see where it goes.
Hell yeah.
You know what else I'm eager to see about?
Tell me.
What's the deal with that body in Twin Peaks: The Return Part 7?
Oh, well, there sure is a body.
All right. Want to do it?
Yeah, I'll jump us into the recap. So,
yeah,
this is a long one. There was honestly more to recap than I expected, so I'm going to take a big sip and jump right in.
Oh my god, this is a lot of recap. Okay, buckle up.
It's finally time to pay off Laura's secret diary page from Fire Walk with Me about how the good Dale's in the lodge. It's what Hawk found in that bathroom stall door. There's also a really sad one about Laura realizing Bob is Leland. Hawk and Truman go, damn, that's crazy. I guess Leland hit it. Then Truman calls the original Harry Truman to get more info, but doesn't press the point because he has cancer or something. Then he uses Skype TM to call Doc Hayward and ask him about the Coop that came out of the lodge. Hayward says he was acting really weird and might have checked in on, quote, comatose Audrey Horne. Cynthia Knox, that FBI agent who went to check out Garland Briggs' prints, is like, what the hell? There actually is a body? And he's got no head and seems not to have aged. Also, one of those weird soot-blasted guys shows up and it's really spooky. Albert and Gordon talk to Diane. She tells him to fuck off, but then does come to South Dakota to talk to Mr. C. They have a very upsetting exchange with disturbing insinuations about the last time they saw each other, and she tells Gordon that Mr. C is definitely not the real Dale Cooper. Afterwards, Mr. C cashes in his strawberry blackmail for a get-out-of-jail-free card and rides off with his henchman Ray. By the way, we remember from back in part 2 that Ray is scheming against Mr. C, but Mr. C knows this. And that's not all. Dougie gets grilled by some brother cops about his exploding car. Janie E tells them off because she's had a very long day, but it's about to get longer. Ike the Spike attacks, but Dougie fends him off with his Black Lodge chop and hand squeeze. We then get a crazy street interview sequence about Dougie's moves. Meanwhile, Jerry Horne got too high in the woods. Andy tries to solve the mystery of the truck Richard Horne hit that kid with, but the guy he's talking to is really scared and then no-shows their meeting. Ben Horne and his secretary Beverly hear a weird sound in the Great Northern and go, weird, at getting Dale's old room key that Jade sent in the mail. Ben pointedly does not make a move on her, and Beverly has a fraught relationship with her sick husband. Jean-Michel Renault, not Jacques Renault, watches a guy sweep at the roadhouse and is still a piece of shit about underage girls. And at the Double R, a guy called Bing is looking for a guy called Billy. Lily, what do you say of the episode?
It's a pretty good one. You know, it's nice to see like some lore developing. I would say a lot of it felt kind of incremental, but the definite standout is all of the Diane stuff. The Diane stuff is killer. It is like totally unlike anything we've seen in this show before, and I'm so glad it's so specific.
Yeah, I agree. I really like this episode.
Hell yeah.
It's one of the most that it has felt like the original run of Twin Peaks pacing of like each of our 12 plots and characters each had a little thing happen, you know?
Yeah, no, it is very like that.
And we're also kind of starting to see things like come together, I think.
Yeah, I guess like in the sense that Hawk has made some big discoveries. They're piecing stuff together. I feel like knowing this show, I still am not predicting much is going to happen for a while, but
yeah,
still cool to see.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to dig into in this one. So I guess let's dig in.
Let's dig.
Well, the first scene is kind of a silly one, although it has a real comedy and pathos, which is Jerry Horne is in the woods and he's like, what the fuck? Oh my God. And my first note was just like, it's been a couple weeks since I watched this because of all that stuff that we were doing. And cold open with Jerry Horne high in the woods, just being like, what the fuck? I was like, we're so back.
We are so back.
He calls Ben and he's like, I don't know where I am. I think I'm high. I forget what sentence it is. It might be that, but like, oh no, he's like, so Jerry's like, someone stole my car. And Ben is like, someone stole your car? And Jerry just goes, you say the same thing. Which is very funny, but also, you know, doppelgangers copying like something there, but kind of just an in and out scene of Jerry Horne being way too high out in the woods.
Yeah.
Do you have thoughts on this one?
It does. Like, haunted woods is not something the show taps into that often. Opening with it was very cool and intriguing. Who stole Jerry's car? That's a question I have.
I feel like he might have just lost his car because he's high as fuck. But
like Dougie.
Oh my God, true.
And we also say that Dougie's car was stolen. I feel like there is a definite parallel here. I have no idea why or what it's doing.
Yeah.
Actually, here's the thing. A lot about this episode is about like how the passing of time is wearing on characters, right? Like everyone has so clearly aged.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like this is tenuous, but it could be linking Dougie's stuff to like the passage of time. Also, this is a very old looking man.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting because like we never saw Jerry Horne in the original run being distressed basically at all.
No, he was easy breezy.
And yeah, I think it's really interesting that like we met him being like, and I've got my delicious weed, and now he's like, and it's scary. And it really does hit the line of like, it is a funny scene and it also has a real pathos to it, you know?
Yeah, you can't help but feel for him, for sure. I will say it feels just slightly undercut by existence of iPhone. Like the fact that he's on iPhone and has reception, he could just look at a map. But I'm willing to overlook that because he is very high.
Sometimes you're high as fuck and you don't know.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. Anyway, quick in and out. The next scene, though, is quite juicy.
Yeah. This next one is like, I want to say like 8 minutes long. It goes on so much.
Yeah.
So this is the payoff of Hawk finding those diary pages of Laura's slipped into the bathroom door last episode. Mm-hmm. They're going over them. They're understanding now that, you know, Laura knew about Annie somehow, knew about Coop somehow, had this dream that we already knew about, but they needed to figure it out at some point.
Mm-hmm.
It is mentioned that there's still a page missing from the journal. There were 4 pages torn out, and this is only 3 of them, which is so interesting. I think the most consequential discovery that they make in this scene is the whole "the good Dale is in the lodge" thing. And so this like lets them know like, hey, maybe the Dale that left the lodge is the evil Dale. And this has them later call Doc Hayward because he is one of the only people who saw Dale after leaving the lodge. Any thoughts on this scene?
I mean, my first one is I really tried to tee you up last episode. When
you really did.
I was like, we've seen someone write it and it's a clue. Like, and it's interesting because like in a way it kind of has to appear here because, or it has to have been hidden because like we saw Laura write this in Fire Walk with Me and then it never showed up in the original run, you know, is so fun.
Oh, it's
like,
true, eh?
Theoretically, it was there the whole time, you know?
Yeah.
I really like how, one, the missing page is very compelling. A fun little, we still have a mystery to keep us. I think like Sheriff Truman's, like Frank Truman's demeanor in this is really interesting. We really see his like, I don't know, his like outsider status, I guess, because he's like almost skeptical and he's like, oh yeah, I heard about Laura Palmer. Like there's a real emphasis of like how he wasn't there, you know, when all that happened. Honestly, the other things that really stand out to me are like, I don't know, just really feel for Laura. I love how she wrote the like, this came to me in a dream last night, like in a cloud. Like she drew a little cloud around it, and just the like, I know who it is just like so rough. And you know, in Fire Walk with Me, we see Bob like reaching behind the dresser to get the diary, and I guess this is like he did that and then ripped these pages out, I guess.
Yeah, that seems. I'm willing to accept that. Yeah.
What's interesting because I remember like that happens, but then she gets the diary, and it's kind of like unclear. But I think this is a very satisfying conclusion to that. And I think this is also like, oh, this is what makes him say, like, I never thought you knew it was me.
I think it was, I always thought you knew it was me.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, I always thought you knew it was me. I never knew you knew it was me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough. I also just really like how it is like, even though we know all this, it's very fun seeing them like puzzle it out like a mystery. And there's like a very slow pan like away showing the like empty chair at the head of the conference room table. It feels very like pointedly highlighting how like Coop isn't there, Harry isn't there.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Totally. Another little detail in the diary pages that really little thing, just that Laura spelled I can't breathe as I can't breath because she's like 18 and she's like a high schooler.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Queen.
Yeah.
This is a good scene. Not a ton we didn't already know, but it needed to be in here.
Yeah. And you know, you mentioned it is a big thing for me in this episode is like the presence of aging is like such a thing, and like the people that are missing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. As like the pan out to the empty chair really feels like there's such a heavy sense of like, we're now old and some people are dead or not able to be here, you know? And that I think kind of takes us into the next scene.
So gracefully.
Yeah.
And thank you. So this one is Frank Truman calling his brother, the ex-sheriff Harry, to be like, hey, I have a couple questions for you about the Laura Palmer thing. And Harry just being sort of too unwell to talk. I think Frank asks, like, where have they got you, Harry? And then he makes this like really surprised and saddened face. I'm thinking like palliative care or like hospice are kind of the things that would make the most sense there. Although at the end of the scene he does say like, beat this thing for me, which feels like something you don't say anymore at that stage, so I don't really know.
Or maybe just like the hospital.
Yeah,
definitely something along those lines. I agree.
And so Frank is like very, very gentle here and is like, no, I don't want to push it. It's not nothing that this is not a gentleness the cops show anyone else, like anyone who's not the cops. I still think about Dale really putting the screws on Bobby early in the show. And like this stuff is actually very consequential. And I assume that now there's just like information he is not going to learn. This definitely does really foreground the age thing, which only keeps coming up in this episode. But that's all I've got for this one. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, and actually, we're really on the segue train today. I think you saying like that it makes you think about the cops putting the screws on people kind of definitely takes us into the next scene, which is Andrew. He's old now. Now Andy is doing detective work, and I do kind of like seeing him be a real detective. He's interrogating, and the wiki just calls him a local farmer because this guy does not get a name, although I think that's important. That all the other little random characters seem to be credited with names, but not this guy.
Oh, interesting.
We'll come back to that in the final scene. So we see that he has the truck that Richard Horne was driving when he went to that drug deal and then ran over the kid. And he's like, come on, that's your truck. He's like, yeah, I know, but it wasn't me driving it. And he's like really spooked. He's like, we can't talk here. I'll meet you at Sparkwood in 21, which of note that's like Laura's stoplight.
Oh my God, is it?
The one where she runs off the motorcycle. Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. By Joneses, they say. Who's Jones?
Dougie Jones.
Yeah. Okay, this is what I was thinking, but I'm sure I want to say I'm sure it's a coincidence, but it is like, it is pointed.
I agree. He's definitely very spooked about people seeing him talk to the cops. What do you think about this scene?
My mind definitely went to this being like Richard Horne's like roommate or something. And this guy, the farmer, like being very scared of Richard Horne and thinking like, oh, if he sees this, he's going to kill me.
Yeah.
And as of now, this is my suspicion about what happened.
Yeah, it sure feels that way.
Andy being so slow to like get the hell out of here really doesn't feel good. We'll talk more about that later, but the one detail that really jumped out at me is his house. I love the house. There's like moss growing on the roof. It's like white, but it's kind of like stained or like aged, it just feels like a really realistic, here's a house that you could have in a small town.
It really feels like there's something going on, like the relationship of the town to the police is not what it was in the original run. People are like, I can't be seen talking to you. I'm going to fucking get killed. Is like not how people were interacting with the cops back then,
No, even the criminals, like Norma. No, not Norma.
Oh,
is it Norma's husband?
Hank Jennings?
Yeah, like Hank was always very cool and like fake nice with the cops.
Yeah.
This guy, if he is a criminal, I think he's a decent guy. I don't know. He's being perfectly polite. He's being totally reasonable. And as of now, I don't really think he was wrapped up in anything bad, to be honest with you. He was probably being like extorted or something.
Yeah. But if we believe that the police are like, trying to do good, which, I don't know, we've gone off about that all our times. But like, the Richard Hornes of the world have a lot more like sway over a random guy in Twin Peaks at this point in time, it feels like,
Yeah, I agree. The evil has grown, etc.
Yeah, we get the payoff later, but I want to go to the other half of Frank Truman calling people.
Yeah, the high-tesc wood desk 2000.
Oh my God, I love this
say
thing.
High-tesc.
Yeah, the high-tesc wood desk 2000. We know.
So this is Sheriff Frank calling Doc Hayward because, to ask him some questions about Dale. They first call on the phone and he's like, do you know about Skype? And Doc Hayward's like, I diagnosed Mrs. Whatever with eczema over
So
Skype this
funny.
morning. And so they hang up, they call on Skype, which happens fantastically. They didn't need to do this. Frank's computer is embedded into this big wooden desk.
I really like it. I
and
really like it.
Lifts up slowly. And you see like the angle on the webcam sort of shifts accordingly.
Yeah. Well, it's also like it lifts up when he like pulls a lever that's like a little log on his desk.
That's so cute. That's so cute.
It's really like, how would a character from Twin Peaks have a computer? You know?
Yeah, I'm happy we still have a little bit of this like small-timey charm, you know?
Yeah.
It's also very television, but they have this like very friendly little chat about the day that Coop got out of the lodge and how I guess like Hayward brought Cooper to the hospital because he was, well, we remember what happened. It was a little bit odd, a little bizarre.
Yeah, he had to brush his teeth.
And smash his head into the window. And I guess Coop like snuck out of the hospital that day, fully dressed is what he says, and with a strange expression.
Yeah.
There is a mention that he was probably checking in, and this, the more I think about it, the worse it makes me feel.
Yeah.
Checking in on Audrey, who was in a coma after that terrible thing at the bank.
Yeah.
Dude, I got a bad feeling here. I got a bad feeling.
Yeah, say more.
Well, this episode gives a lot of thought to whether Mr. C is a rapist. And we do know that there is a sociopathic character with the last name Horne on this show now.
Yeah.
So I am pretty worried about what happened at this hospital.
Yeah.
It does feel conspicuous that we haven't met Audrey yet, and I know she's in this season. Like that's I've seen her in like the promotional stuff. I'm scared she has been Sarah Palmered a little bit.
Yeah, it's rough, and I think it's like I wasn't sure how much you're gonna pick up on that. I definitely like highlighted his checking in on in the recap, but like there's definitely a moment when he says like he might have been looking in on Audrey Horne that like Truman really kind of like sits back and reacts to that, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting that he would be like literate of that because these guys don't really know shit about women.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, if this is true,
yeah,
if this has happened, then this means that Audrey Horne would have given birth, I guess, 9 months after this. And it does make it, again, I'm really just thinking about this now, it does make it kind of crazy that that's not something that Doc Hayward seems to comment on.
Ooh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, we feels like Truman reacts like, but like neither of them say anything. Just again, I think like these men and the way that like, again, if that is true, that like they are being kind of quietly complicit in like sexual violence, you know?
It's kind of unremarkable to them.
Yeah, or like they don't want to say it out loud, you know?
It
kind of makes me think of that scene from The Missing Pieces where we see Doc Hayward and Donna's mom kind of like noticing that things are not right with Laura and just being like, you know, and like not intervening. Because like, you know, we don't know what's up with Audrey, but if let's say she recovers from a coma, 9 months later gives birth and is like, what? You know, like there's no way this could have happened. And like Doc Hayward has nothing to say about that, you know?
It's horrific.
Yeah, it's rough.
No, you're right. It's really bad. I mean, we've seen him being complicit since the start with Sarah sedating her, right?
And I don't know, I'm glad we're talking about it. I definitely like hinted at it, but didn't want to like explicitly say that this is a possibility if you didn't say it first. But like, as far as the show really starting to turn the camera on like Mr. C is like truly horrifying. This is
as opposed to just like a TV criminal.
Yeah, this is real. Like if he got out of the Black Lodge, was like, I need to brush my teeth, whatever, was brought to the hospital, and then was like, first thing to do, like maybe the first thing he did was like assault a comatose 18-year-old and then just leave. Like,
Jesus.
It's really horrifying to think about.
I want to say this now in case it ends up not being true and then there's no chance like to talk about this further. In a way, is like the not the payoff, but like the culmination of their plot line, like Dale and Audrey, right? Because they had this whole romance that like never materialized. Like to have them have a child together, but to have it be through this like terrible, terrible assault.
Yeah.
Also feels like it can kind of be read as a condemnation of them having a romance in the first place. I don't know.
I think so. And I think that is definitely something that I think, and I'm saying all this without officially confirming that is or isn't the case, but I'm talking about it this much, but I think speaks to the show's like continued self-criticism and like self-reflection. Like, I think, yeah, like for that, there was all that setup of like, will they, won't they? She shows up in his bed, like, hello, Dale Cooper, I'm a virgin, you know? And to have the first inkling of that, like being a thing at all in season 3 is that like it was evil Dale and he assaulted her feels like such a pointed reframing of that, you know?
Yes. Okay. I appreciate that you see it too. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I guess another thing about that, I don't know if I don't want this to come off uncouth, but like it feels very not Bob in a way.
How so?
It feels like Bob really, like I was thinking about what I was saying like last episode or the episode before, where it feels like Bob was very passionate and Mr. C is much more dispassionate and like cold and calculating. And the way Bob engaged in sexual assault was to like relish in the suffering of the victim, you know? And it feels like he would be less inclined to assault someone comatose. I'm not like, it feels kind of gross to even talk about it in this way. And like, I don't know that that's, I feel 100% about that, but it feels like the evil of Mr. C is someone that is more likely to engage in sexual assault in that way than the evil of Bob, you know?
Yeah, I do think I agree with you. It is like a tricky thing to even talk about.
Yeah.
But it does make me think of how like when Bob would attack people, he really wanted to like elicit like screams and stuff versus when Mr. C killed, who was that woman who was plotting to kill him?
Oh, Daria.
When he killed Daria, he was like pacifying her, right?
Yeah. It's almost like Bob wanted a like high performance of horror and Mr. C just wants it done.
Yeah, completely. Which I think we've said this before, but that as a commentary on like violent film or media or whatever also makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm very glad we talked about that because it's rough.
I do actually have some more things I want to say about this scene before we move on. Okay, awesome. You first.
Yeah, let's get into the stuff that isn't about that horrifying possibility. One, the really obvious Skype product placement. Like we get like a full screen shot where the entire frame is just the desktop screen with Skype open is crazy. I also really like how Truman is like, I'll saddle up in Skype because he's a cowboy.
That's really cute.
Yeah, just again, like it's so grounded in the experience of aging. Like Doc Hayward is so much older and like he really feels his age. I love his hat that says "Got Trout." And actually my other note, because he has a little joke. He's like, the other day I caught 3 trout in my pajamas. How they got in my pajamas, I'll never know.
Yeah. Woohoo!
It feels like he's doing a Pete Martell.
Completely. Yes, down to the fish weirdness.
Yeah. And
Completely
like the fish
agree.
getting somewhere, right? Like in the percolator in the pajamas.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Jack Nance died in 1996.
Yeah.
And this feels very pointedly in conversation with that. This really feels like David Lynch being like, I can't have my longtime friend who is now dead, Jack Nance, here. So Doc Hayward, you're going to be Pete Martell for this scene. All the ways that the show is in this like season especially is like in conversation with aging and people being gone and people dying and like how you try to fill those holes and like the empty chair from in the conference room, I think is really interesting.
You're so right. Yeah, I love that. I also have a thought here on, so after they make the little fish joke, like Frank asks like, oh, do you have those for breakfast? And then Hayward goes into like this long thing about that breakfast that he had. Pan fried them right down by the river, had like some English muffin with jam or whatever. It made me think of this video essay that I watched this week by a guy whose name is Jeff. His YouTube channel is Jeffiet. It's called Peak Art versus Peak Slop. And it's like, it's largely about Twin Peaks and like David Lynch's approach in general. One thing about it that stuck with me was like his theory of why David Lynch puts you in these really extended moments. Like this was already a long scene, and to add a full minute of breakfast talk, especially when as he mentions, this season was originally 9 episodes, and he and like David Lynch and Mark Frost insisted on a full 18 episode
I really like
order.
that.
They needed this stuff in there. You know,
Yeah.
they insisted on it.
Yeah.
His theory of that is basically it is kind of the heart of the show's like empathy, or David Lynch's empathy in general. Like it just helps you kind of imagine these people have like valuable lives, you know, outside of what's shown on screen. And then when it's kept away from you, it's also very pointed, like the unnamed farmer who seems, I think, to die off screen. And we never learn anything about him. Anyway, that's my Lily thought. I'll link that video in the show notes. It's pretty good.
You know, there's another thing that I think is like that Audrey scene at the bank was a fully comedic scene. You know, Del Mibler takes 10 minutes getting all the keys and everything and bringing water and everything. And like the haha, got you, Andrew, like the fucking the bomb from what's his name, you know, like it was the resolution of the fuck ass puzzle box, you know, like even how the explosion was showed with like we just see a tree with like money and glasses flying onto it. It was a like fully comedic scene.
Yeah, it's true.
And it felt like Audrey would be okay after it because of how it was being played for comedy. It feels like it really intentionally like kicks the legs out from under that to be like, yeah, she was put into a coma and then maybe sexually assaulted. Is like such a like almost cruel twist on what was such a goofy Del Mibler scene, you know?
Yeah, you're so right. It does recast that as well.
Yeah, so really so many ways that the show continues to be like souring things from the original run in a really interesting way.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm ready to move to Buckhorn, South Dakota. How about you?
Let's get horny.
Yeah, let's get Buckhorny. So Cynthia Knox, who we saw last time talking to her FBI boss, being like, I gotta check out the prints, but it's probably nothing. She shows up and he's like, oh, there's a body. And she's like, what the hell? And then she sees the body and she's like, what the hell? This probably, she called her boss. She's like, I think this is Garland Briggs's body. The prints came off him, but 1, no head. 2, the coroner's report says that he died in the last few days and is in his late 40s, which is not possible because that's how old he was in 1990s.
So good.
Yeah, so like the implication that like somehow he has been in, you know, maybe in space, floating head in space stasis for 30 years or whatever, in a way, like whatever he's been, however he's been, it has like he's not been aging.
Yeah, when like it's funny, other people in the lodge do age. Like, okay, I say other people in the lodge. I guess that means maybe he wasn't in the lodge, but he was somewhere strange, specifically out of time, which is not what being somewhere strange usually does. I don't know.
Well, we know Dale has aged, and you know, this is another one where Don Sinclair Davis, the guy who played Garland Briggs, again died in 2008. And like honestly, we haven't mentioned it until now, but I think the decision to have him only appear as a decapitated corpse also feels very in conversation with like he's dead. He was our friend in that movie, and now he's dead, you know? Or that movie. He was that character, and he is dead now, you know? Feels very... And, like, in a way, that means that he wasn't able to age because he died at that age or something. I don't know. But there's, like... This definitely feels continually in conversation with all that. And, again, we get the, like, crazy, like, CSI-type delivery. My note is, like, it feels like audition acting, a lot of the way they talk about it. But then we get spooky shit. As she's on the phone with her boss, we see a like blurry figure walking in the background, and we hear a horrible David Lynch sound design spooky drone or like electricity buzzing scratch sound. And then it's one of those soot-blasted figures that we've seen in the past. Like we saw him in the jail cell, and it looks a lot like the guy that was in Fire Walk with Me with his radio.
It's true. And
she seems to like sense him, but like doesn't really see him. And he just kind of like walks past and is like, for the rest of the scene, there's this horrifying thrum playing. And it really, my biggest note is like, it really speaks to how good David Lynch's sound design is. Every time he's like, no one does a scary drone sound like David Lynch. And it really transforms the scene from feeling hokey to, for me at least, feeling genuinely scary just by having this scary sound going on and this guy in the background. It's like, before that, I was like, this is a funny audition acting scene. And then afterwards, I'm like, oh no, this is scary.
What's happening? Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. It's fucked up.
It is fucked up.
This is not to do with the buzzing thing, but I noticed that the corpse has like these enormous stitches, like these sewn up wounds.
Yeah.
Like kind of one across the collarbone and one down the middle of the chest. What the fuck is up with that? What's going on there?
I agree. It's like, it makes me think almost of, I mean, my first thought was like, did they take his heart out? And then I think it makes me think of what Diane says about Mr. C, like gesturing at her heart, like there's something that definitely isn't there, you know?
Yes. Oh shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. What do you think about these guys that we keep seeing? I see that you've called him the Woodsman. I know that that's something that people call him. I forgot if that was something that we had started formally calling him. I guess actually the wiki summary did say a woodsman is there. Oh no, it just says a mysterious dark man. Well,
interesting.
You're calling it a woodsman, so
yeah, I didn't realize that's something we hadn't talked about. I think that's just one of those things that I saw on internet. You know,
I forget. We might have, to be honest. Yeah. What do you think about these guys?
Well, he definitely seems to have entered here to interfere or impede in some way.
But it's weird because he just walks past at the end.
Yeah, I assume he's going somewhere else. Like, I don't know if he's the kind of spirit creature who would just come in and like shoot them with a gun, but he probably would go like mess with the computers or something.
Yeah.
So the hum, the kind of buzz that we get on the phone, I guess it like starts during a phone call, but it is not on the phone. That definitely makes me think like, okay, yeah, this is some kind of Black Lodge entity as opposed to some other kind of strange creature. This is thin. So later we hear that some Cro-Magnon at the prison tampered with the prints to make Mr. C's prints look like they matched Dale's. Or just like around kind of, as like an owl type thing, like a character that is just present to watch, to observe. Because we did also see it in the prison cell early on in the show.
Yeah, it feels like they are like harbingers or like omens. Like it feels like there's a lot like the instances where we get a like supernatural entity or sign is like level 1 is like you hear like a buzz or a ooh, 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 and like level 2 is you see these guys, and then like, you know, level 3 is Bob is there or some shit, you know. But like it feels like they are like drawn to or are manifested by places where the like spiritual interference is going on. Like he is in this really in between place where like the guy in the cell that other episode was definitely just like sitting there. This guy is like, he doesn't interfere with them. It's this weird in between between like being a spectator and getting at them.
It's interesting to think of him or them as an omen, because like it's not something that any character has noticed before, right? It feels like it is like an omen directly at camera to us. There haven't really been other characters like that, and I struggle to think of anything like that in a show in general, you know. I don't know, I guess let's keep an eye on it. Oh, I see you have a note also about a Briggs theory that I really like. Oh, yeah. Okay. So Bobby Briggs, a few episodes back, said that his dad was killed in a fire. I think also mentioned that maybe Dale visited him before that or something.
Maybe even set the fire.
Yeah. So my thinking to this point had been like, yeah, Mr. C like set the fire and killed the dad. But the fire, I mean, you know, fire walk with me, right? If fire has some kind of mythic power to it, but I don't have any like specific called shots.
Well, I love your note that like maybe he came back but his head stayed there. I feel like that is almost the most explainable pathway to the floating head in space that we have, you know?
Yeah, you know what, I feel okay about that.
Anyway I'm ready to move on if you are.
Hit me.
So we then get a little pre-scene to them going to Diane. We start with like Coop just sitting in his office, or not Coop. We start with Gordon Cole sitting in his office doing a little whistle, and then Albert comes in. We saw the nuke picture at his office before. I also forget if we saw this before, but there's also a big corn. So that's what he's got.
Shout out to the big corn.
Yeah, shout out to the big corn.
I did not notice the corn.
This is basically just Albert coming in and being like, she didn't want to talk to me. You go. The big thing on this scene that stands out to me is, like, again, we are drawing attention to Cole's hearing aid as like a real thing and not just a joke for him to go like, what?
Yeah, true.
Like when Albert like knocks or bangs on the door, it like makes the hearing aid do a real whine. And then there's a like flip side where Cole is like, come with me, and Albert is like, say please, and he goes, what? And Albert's like, you heard me. And he goes, please. Like we see it as like something that affects him in reality, but also we see him being willing to kind of use it to get out of things that he is trying to get out of,
I like that. So about the like big atomic bomb poster behind him, I noticed like he's whistling in his office to himself at the start of the scene. That high-pitched kind of high but falling tone does really remind me of the sound of like a falling bomb.
Yeah, I love that.
And just like, the really quaint old man combined with the nuke, like it is juxtaposing those two on purpose either way.
Yeah.
It feels like the start of a bit more of like a nuanced characterization for Gordon, especially in his like folksiness in this episode. There is some like interesting kind of delicate character work happening, but mostly I want to talk about how Albert is still complaining about how he had to go out in the rain,
so funny.
Even though he took a taxi there.
Yeah.
And then he was outside for 5 minutes. So like, I feel like you're fine, dude.
Yeah, it's so funny. Oh, that actually reminds me. This is something that I had forgotten about because it's been a couple weeks. But after the last episode where the bar that he went to was like Max Von's bar, which was a very pointed Sunset Boulevard reference, I rewatched Sunset Boulevard because Maya had never seen it.
Oh, cool.
Great movie. For how much they really held the camera on Max Von's bar, it feels like our baby being made to think about Sunset Boulevard a bit. And I think it's very interesting in terms of like a movie. Everyone go listen to TSTV DVD to hear the episode where we talk about it. Like a movie about living inside a dream. Like big picture, this movie, a screenwriter who is out of money ends up living with this old retired movie star who was big in silent movies and has kind of been pushed out of the industry with the talkies. And she's like, I have a script that'll bring me back to the screen. And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll help you write it. And they kind of fall in love, but it's more like she keeps him as a pet. It's a whole thing. But I think like he spends that movie living inside her fantasy while knowing that it is like an unhealthy, unrealistic dream. And like Max von Mayerling, the like butler character in that movie, is like fully devoted to maintaining that fantasy and making sure that she never wakes up from it. It's just like something that's really interesting to think about for like Dougie is like kind of Dale living in this weird dream of being Dougie Jones, and Mr. C is like the nightmare of it, like and David Bowie's line in Fire Walk With Me of like, we live inside a dream. I think it's like something that's interesting to think about, and I think that is like a movie that is all about how tantalizing and how poisonous it is to live inside a dream that is like built on the violence of like the misogyny of the film industry and like is unsustainable. I think that's just something we should think about. I just remembered this now because of that bar, but let's just think about that for the rest of the season.
Wonderful. For the rest of the season. Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I like a lot of the anti kind of looking back critically stuff feels like kind of waking up from a dream.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's this little setup scene, and then we actually have the big Diane scene.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, so good. This is Gordon and Albert going to Diane's apartment. It is a nice, fancy, big apartment. Oh my. A guy in his like 30s answers the door. He's like getting himself dressed in a suit.
Yeah. I forgot about her little boy toy.
Yeah. He lets them in. Diane is like, hey, who's at the door? And he doesn't tell her, which is odd. And, they take a seat on the couch. She is not very pleased to
Yeah.
see them. And she is just like super, ugh, eye roll over it. Fuck you. They ask, I think, I think it's Gordon who asks, like, do you have any coffee? And while she's like sipping a coffee, she says no. And she takes a drag of her cigarette and she says, I don't have any cigarettes either.
Yeah. It's really good.
Basically, the purpose of this conversation is to let Diane know, like, more firmly, Dale Cooper is in jail in South Dakota. We need you to come with him because you know him so well. You need to help us figure out what is going on here. Her response to this news that Dale's in jail is to say good, which is like totally could not be more against my prediction for what she thought about Dale.
Yeah.
How she must have kind of like idealized him since he disappeared. No, not at all. In fact, she has seen him in recent years.
Yeah.
And this is where we start getting the kind of implication of like an assault or a traumatic history more recently. She eventually softens a little bit and comes around, but through it all, Gordon's like quips, his little jokes feel very inappropriate to me. Feel very like unhelpful.
Yeah, I was really thinking that. Like, she's like, I don't have cigarettes. And he goes, the memory of tobacco, but I gave it up. And she's like, fuck you, Gordon. And like, honestly, yeah, fuck you. Like, relax. And like, she eventually does bring them out some coffee as like a, peace offering. And he goes, thank you, Diane. Damn good coffee. And like, that's Coop's line, right?
Ugh, yeah. How would this feel for her?
Yeah, like it's such a, again, in the continued like reevaluation of Gordon Cole, he feels very tone deaf here, as it were, and like very like, yeah, like just fucking kind of misogynist. He calls her a tough cookie.
Yeah, it's very condescending. I mean, first of all, this is not cool to talk to any woman this way, but like also she's 50, girl.
Yeah. And there are two other things that stand out to me. One is he specifically says that Dale's her former boss, which is, I think, a different way of framing that relationship than we have seen so far. Like I think, put together that she was his secretary, but describing him as her boss feels a lot more like explicit than it would have felt more like they were partners or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, in the same way, like imagine Lucy describing, Harry as her boss. It like puts into relief that this is a professional situation where there should be boundaries.
Well, and I think that like the power dynamic and it like takes away the idyllic vision of it.
Yeah.
And the last thing he says to her is like, you need to talk to him and it's about something that you know about. And that's enough said about that.
So what do you think this refers to?
I'm honestly not sure. So the scene later on when she's like, you and I will have a talk. It feels like he's not like, wasn't explicitly at least in the know about whatever it is that Mr. C did to her.
Yeah, I don't think
but
he knows.
He could probably put it together if she like, quit the FBI and like hates all of them. Like it feels like he maybe was able to put that together. And it feels here like his like involves something that you know about. And that's enough said about that. Feels like it has something to do with what he did to you. I don't know. It's unclear, to be honest.
My personal feeling here is that he genuinely is in the dark about what Mr. C did to her. My thinking, honestly, is the something could be the Black Lodge, which is like something that we are always dancing around, like, blue rose and like using euphemisms or not like fully acknowledging for how weird it is. I think it might be that she's like one of fairly few people who understands this like mystical side of things.
Yeah, but it could be that too, for sure.
Also something to be said about how I honestly, I really am very confident that it is that Mr. C like raped her.
Yeah, it sure feels like that from their exchange, It really feels like that.
So with that in mind, like also thinking about, Laura, even Annie to some extent, like the thing that brings you to the lodge, the thing that puts you in contact with these entities is like sexual violence most often.
Yeah.
So it could be familiar to her in that sense as well. that could be a way that you come to know these things.
And I don't know, like we really jumped right into this scene just like as this scene. You know, it feels again similar to earlier, like the show kind of kicking the legs out of the comedic Audrey last scene, you know?
Yeah.
Diane up until now was only just, hello, Diane, it's 10:28 a.m., you know?
Mm-hmm. It's cute and quirky that she's not a full human being.
Yeah, and it made sense that you would think that the prediction would be that she idolized him, because it feels like the way the show was setting up their dynamic would imply that. And I think it's so compelling that when we see this now, I mean, maybe she did, maybe they were besties, and then Mr. C did something horrible to her, and now she hates him, she hates the FBI, she hates all this shit, and like that we're really like, we just see her as a full person, and it's Laura Dern, best actress of all time, maybe.
She's fantastic
and like,
here. Oh my god.
Like playing it with like her raspy voice and like everything is just like, it is such a, yeah, like we had the dream, and the dream had a big bucket of water thrown on it. You know, and it's so compelling. Do you want to take us to the next little scene of them flying?
I do. This is a shorter and less consequential one, but there's still some interesting stuff. So this is the FBI gang plus Diane on a jet to South Dakota. Tammy comes up to Gordon and Albert, and she's like, hey, you know, these fingerprints. Actually, I don't remember that much about the framing here. The important thing here is that Tammy brings them the fingerprints and points out that there's like a small detail on one finger that is like mirrored. It's like reversed in a way that reveals that someone at the jail must have like tampered with these. That means that Dale's fingerprints are not actually identical to Mr. C's. Mr. C's are reversed, which is such a smart little way to do this. So fitting. And then Gordon does this weird little thing where he's like, Tammy, put out your hands. She puts out her hands. Flip them over. She flips them over. This is like after she's made a very major and interesting discovery. Yeah. He just goes through and starts squeezing her fingers one by one and saying, I'm very, very happy to see you, old friend. And like points out the ring finger and kind of strokes it funnily. And this again, like quirky, but kind of condescending, right? Like it's illegible to anyone but him. It's not like helpful. And she doesn't seem satisfied with it either.
I think because he says like, I'm very happy. And he's like squeezes, right. He's saying that the ring finger is the one that was backwards. Like, I'm Erev, and then that's the like starting from the pinky. I'm Erev, and then so it's like he's specifically saying like that. And he says like that's the spiritual finger. You think about that, Tammy. But like, yeah, I agree. It is some bullshit, and it also feels like an excuse for him to squeeze a young woman's hand. You know? Yeah,
totally. Then after this, they have a minute where they pull out the one known picture of Mr. C. It is him on like a palatial estate outside of Rio. Albert says, but the time we checked it out, it belonged to some girl from Ipanema. Which is, you know, like the song. And Diane is over in the next apartment and she rolls her eyes like, fucking of course it was. What's next?
Yeah. I really love your note about how she's over this bullshit.
Yeah. My note is that she would hate the TV show Twin Peaks because all this like quirky, abstract kind of misdirection, whatever. Like none of this has served her at all. She is, she maybe always was, but certainly is now like a very practical, no bullshit kind of person.
Well, and I think it's that, you know, she probably did love the show Twin Peaks when she was like, hee, and doo, and we solved the things, and then it assaulted her, presumably, you know?
Yeah. It victimized her.
I have a couple other notes. One, I really love, we see her starting to warm up, but Albert gives her something to drink, and she's like, fuck you, Albert, but she says it as like a toast. It's really good as she like and again, Tammy's performance is crazy. Like she really sachets in and says like, what does all this mean? Like with a winky face after, you know, like it feels very intentional, but it's really, really pointed. And the final thing I will show you, I'm going to put this on screen share for a moment.
Sure.
We get a very brief establishing shot of the jet flying. And I'll hit play in a moment, but the windows on the outside of the jet start to like flicker out.
Oh.
Take a look.
Okay.
See?
Oh.
Like
Funny.
there's a moment where there's two of them, and yeah. So
Wow.
what I will say is that feels intentional.
Okay.
Like, the show loves its like intentionally artificial special effects and stuff, you know?
Mm.
And it's unclear to me if that is something that is happening just to like highlight the artificiality of like shot of jet, that they definitely didn't get a helicopter of a jet flying or whatever, you know, presumably that's a miniature, but like, or for some other reason. But for how much it happens for like 2 full seconds and like they're all flickering, it feels like something that would have been made to happen on purpose and not like an accident. And
Interesting.
I don't know that there's much we can glean from that right now, but let's just remember that.
Yeah, okay. Very cool. I kind of read it as like the sun kind of at a very specific angle, you know, reflecting on these, but
yeah,
it does like happen in a very aesthetically pleasing and not like random feeling way. Interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, we then get Diane's scene at the prison. Shall I jump right in?
You know, do you mind if I say one quick thing about one of your comments?
Yeah, please.
About Tammy and how she like holds herself and how she speaks and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It does kind of feel like her like micro arc in the scene is going from that to disillusion about how condescendingly it gets her treated.
I really like that.
Yeah, I guess I don't expect her to like majorly, you know, change over the course of the show necessarily, but it is just another reminder of like, yeah, this quirky world, it is very much a boys' club. Anyway, I'm happy to hit the next one.
So we're at the prison. We get a very brief little walk-in with Tammy being like, we're very appreciative. And I do love Diane being like, what's your name? Tammy. Fuck you, Tammy. Just handed him out. Then we're in the like cell interrogation room that we saw a couple episodes ago, or last episode. I don't remember. Anyway, and I love like as soon as they go in, as soon as she's in there, the like ominous drone is playing again, like just at the like the bottom of the sound register. And this scene is fucking scary. It's like, again, this was scary last time, and his like delivery is all like distorted. Like it's unclear if it's like kind of, you know, through the microphone, but
his voice
he's
sounds
immediately
like pitched down or slowed or something, right?
Yeah. He's like, I knew it was going to be you. It's good to see you, Diane. God, I love all the shots of him. We can see her reflection like over his shoulder.
Right.
But like she looks like ghostly and like distorted, you know? It just feels so haunted, and like we're seeing how he is like distorting her, you know? He's basically like, oh, it's nice to see you. I thought you'd be upset with me. She's like, what do you think? He's like, I think you're upset with me. You know, and God, Laura Dern is like unstoppable. Like
I know.
the way that she breathes life into this, and it's like, you know, it's I was saying last time, like it's really difficult to play a heightened artificial, like to act in that way. And I think Laura Dern does such a good job in David Lynch movies at like being heightened and artificial, but also it really feels real, you know? Like it's really right on that knife's edge of being kind of like Brechtian in the way that like Brecht being a playwright who is really into like shocking the audience out of like, it's a like believing in the fantasy and really making them be like, this is a play. Think about it as not art. Think about it as artifice, you know? And like, I think there's a lot of that in how a lot of the performances in this season, but then like she is doing that while also really, really, really just delivering emotionally. And, you know, she's like, do you remember the last time we saw each other? He's like, as it was at your apartment. She says, do you remember that night? He says, I'll always remember that night. She says, same for me. I'll never forget it.
In a very kind of bitter, like...
Yeah, and she's like, God, Laura Dern's face acting is fucking amazing.
I know. Her lips are kind of tightening. She's making this like unflinching eye contact, right?
Yeah. She says, who are you? You know what it reminds me of is Leland in Fire Walk With Me. Leland covers, I think, Teresa Banks's eyes and is like, who am I? And she says, who are you? And then she says, look at me. And I love, like, she says it at first, like, vindictive and, like, commanding. And then she says it again, look at me. And she sounds more, like, wounded, like, almost plaintive. And then she just, like, can't bear it. And she brings down the screen.
This is fucking awesome. This is so sick. I mean, obviously Laura Dern would make any scene better, but this almost wouldn't work if it wasn't just a really stellar performance, because there's nothing else in the shot, right? Like,
God, yeah.
It seems like she is not even in a questioning room. She is in like a black void of a studio, which makes me like also sort of more distressed on her behalf, because like, you know, there's nothing to like grab onto, right? It's like for her, like her entire focus, her entire world is this fucking guy. And with that, she's still the dominant one in this scene, right? Like she kind of wins the scene. She's like, if anything, he seems a little bit intimidated by all the eye contact. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's so good. Like she has to, like tell him to look at her. I think they did give Kyle MacLachlan like contacts, because his eyes are just like black pits, you know?
Yes. Oh my God, it's fantastic.
God.
His eyes are different. His voice is different. It really feels like he is like a distorted.
Like it is just a fucking banger scene. What do you think? Like, okay, the who are you, I feel like is like, you're not Dale Cooper, who are you, you know? What do you think of her, like, look at me?
I'm curious to hear your thoughts, but I mean, Dale was basically a sympathetic guy. And if this was really Dale, I think you'd be able to pick up some degree of like guilt about, you know, what he did. Instead, you just get like a coldness. He's like, he looks unimpressed. The only real restraint, like he seems like tense in a way that is just like self-preserving. None of these are Dale hallmarks, right? I feel like eye contact just like foregrounds that. Beyond that, I also, you know, I can't help but imagine this like assault that I think took place, and probably whatever she recognized in him there, she's also looking for here.
I mean, it is very interesting for being the inverse of Leland's like, don't look at me, who am I? It feels also like a like, recognize what you did. Like, look at me as in like, I want you to see and take seriously my pain, you know?
Sure, yeah.
And it feels like that's like the first time she says it. Again, she's like commanding, and then like she gets, I'm not actually sure that she wins the scene. That when she hits it that second time, it does feel like plaintive and wounded, and like look at me, like please see what that I matter, like that you like see what you did. And he just like doesn't, you know. And it feels like that's the point when she's like, this is not Dale Cooper, I gotta go. You know?
No, that's a very good point.
God, yeah. Laura Dern, fucking truly unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
Shall I take us into the next one?
Please do.
So we then like follow her out, and my note is that as they're walking out, Tammy is again really doing her strut, and I'm like, Tammy, now's not the time. We get a little bit of Gordon Cole being like, hold that man till you hear from us, which is of course how you know that he will be let out. And then we get Gordon and Diane's little exchange outside, and it's like all of a sudden the walls are down. You know, she's not like, fuck you anymore. She's like, I'm like, grabs him and takes him over and it's like, listen to me, which again is such an interesting, like, look at me, listen to me, you know?
Yeah.
And her like walls that she had with them are being brought down, and she's like crying, and like she all of a sudden like needs him. She needs to hold him and to like needs him to hear what she's saying. And she's basically like, that's not Dale Cooper. It's not time passing or anything. There's something that isn't here, she says, like pointing at her chest. You know, he says, that's good enough for me. She just grabs him and hugs him. And I love there's like a bit of a further away shot of this hug, and he like doesn't know what to do with his hands. You know, they're
He's
like
so
hovering.
shocked by this. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love, he says, like, that last night you mentioned in there's something I need to know about. And she just says, you and I'll have a talk sometime. And I love here, he doesn't hear it. And here he is sensitive enough to know not to do the what? He just adjusts up the hearing aid. You know, like he's like, he is so much more like sensitive to that here. And she's just like, we'll have a talk. And I love her like she takes out her drink. She's like, cheers to the FBI. And again, this is just such a phenomenal twist on like what we could think of her before here. Like, and such a like, yeah, fuck the FBI. It doesn't do shit, you know? It's so good.
Yeah. Like she has done all this for them.
Yeah.
First of all, what the fuck have they done for her?
Yeah.
They've shown up at her house uninvited and condescended to her, and like she's going along with it, but it's a mix of obligation and maybe like a little shred of like fondness for these guys deep down, like a sense of duty to them.
Yeah.
That I don't think they feel to her.
Yeah. Well, and like it just really feels so much like she was all in on this and it betrayed her horribly, you know?
This is in the FBI?
Yeah, the FBI and like the ideas of, yay, Twin Peaks, you know?
Yeah, I wonder. Her apartment in the city and her whole getup really feels so like 2007 Devil Wears Prada.
Oh my God,
like,
yeah.
Like
yeah,
magazine editor in the big city.
Yeah.
Which is a totally separate aesthetic from anything on the show. It does feel like she went kind of in the opposite direction.
Definitely. Yeah, we then get a little brief scene that's kind of the setup for the end of the episode where Mr. C in his cell is like, hey, I need to talk to Warden Murphy about a strawberry. And it's like following up on last episode or the one before when he did his big phone hack thing. He was like, who should I call? Should I call Mr. Strawberry? And the warden was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. What the hell?
But, you know, we'll see that payoff at the end of the episode. And in the meantime, we have another little payoff scene that I will let you describe.
Oh, you know what? I would love to, but I can't see.
Why is that? Oh
Do
my
you know
God.
why?
Oh my God. It's time for Tales from the Log.
It's time for us to take a quick break and then return with Tales from the Log.
Yeah. Okay. Quick break right now.
Awesome.
Hello, everybody. It's Sadie. It's time for everyone's favorite part of the podcast, the mid-roll ad, in which I tell you that you should give us $3 a month on tstv.show. And listen, don't skip, don't hit the 15 seconds forward button, because I'm going to tell you, we just put out a great episode on Blue Velvet, David Lynch's most, I'm going to say most off-puttingly horny movie. Next up, we are covering Jane Schoenbrun's Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma, transgender film of the year, highly anticipated. I don't know if it'll be of the year. It's been anticipated this year, tell you that. That'll be out in August. So if you give us $3 now, you can go see Camp Miasma when it is out in theaters, August 10th or something. And then listen to our podcast episode a bit after that. It's going to be good. You're going to want to do it. And just to say, if you don't have $3 a month, or whatever reason you're not on the Patreon, or even if you are, feel free to please tell your friends who like Twin Peaks, who like weird movies, who like listening to transgender women yap about things about the show. We don't advertise. We're just doing this, and we spread by word of mouth. So the more people you tell about it. Listen, if you got a friend who like you think would be into this shit, just say, hey, check it out. And then if they do, all the love in the world to you, my bella bambini. I don't know what I'm doing with this ad read. This one's a bit of a silly one. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the episode. Bye.
We are back, and it is time for Tales from the Log. I like wolfed a taco in that little break, and so my mouth is a little spicy.
Yeah. Tales.
Sadie, who's not in this you can finish.
Episode. Oh, I was looking at what we did last time, and last time you said that Diane makes adventure games. I wish she was making quirky adventure games.
I want to say we haven't ruled it out. She has a very nice apartment.
You know, good point. And as we all know, making quirky adventure games will get you the big bucks.
The big bucks.
Okay. Who is not in this episode? Well, I guess, again, do we want to follow up on a character we've seen but isn't in this episode, or do we want to do another where have they been speculation? My question every time.
Every time. I would love to do a where have they been.
Okay.
I don't remember who we've done yet, but characters we haven't checked up on are like Donna, Audrey.
I know we did Audrey. We may have done Donna.
Oh my God. The fake British fucker.
Yes, fucking Dick Tremaine.
Dick Tremaine. Let's see what Dick Tremaine has been up to.
Yeah.
So
God.
obviously he's the most owned and broken up with loser of the love triangle.
Yeah, I think the last we saw him was Lucy being like, I'm choosing Andy, not you.
Yeah. This was the first time anything bad has ever happened to this man. He's just not really used to being told no, I don't think, because a British accent will get you far.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what here's what I'm thinking. I'm sorry if this is slightly anachronistic. We're in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
What is the fashion of the early 90s in the Pacific Northwest? Grunge.
Grunge, yes.
Dick Tremaine gets dumped.
Okay.
Drops the accent, moves to Seattle, and becomes a bit of an Andy Warhol for Nirvana.
Yeah, I love it. It's funny, I almost said Nirvana. I was trying to remember the name of the band. Wow.
Because he's all depressed over the breakup, right? And he's like totally humiliated that a son is being paraded around Twin Peaks that is not, in fact, his son.
Wow. Yeah. He becomes the Andy Warhol for Nirvana. Honestly, that is, I feel like that's on brand for the kind of bullshit he would do, and also the kind of shit that they are making characters do after 25 years, you know?
Thank you so much.
I love it. Well, that's Tales
that
from the
was
Log.
Easy. That's Tales from the Log. Maybe our quickest ever.
Yeah.
Next up.
Yeah.
We've got the follow-up on that scene with Andy and the unnamed farmer.
Mm-hmm.
Andy is waiting at the side of the road. He's checking his watch. He's like, this guy isn't coming. It's the time that we said it would be. The farmer dude, we don't see him in the scene. We just cut back to his open door at his house.
Yeah. Which I gotta say, sure makes it feel like he was attacked. It feels like if he had skipped town, he would not leave his door open.
Yeah.
Also, his truck is still there, very pointedly.
Oh, damn. But at the same time, you have to imagine at this decently trafficked place where people are worried about people seeing them, I don't think he was just shot in broad daylight or anything either.
It feels like Richard Horne went into his home and stabbed him or something, you know?
Oh, went into his home. Sure. I was picturing him running out.
No, that's what I think is the open door is it's left open because someone broke in.
Oh, that makes so much sense. Yeah. That's the gist of the scene. One detail I want to call to is that when Andy checks his watch, he's wearing a fucking Rolex.
Yeah, the extremely prominent Rolex product placement is so funny.
The thing about this, I'm grateful not to know many cops in my personal life. I feel like most of them would wear a pretty normal ass watch to a slightly nice watch.
Yeah.
A small town cop wearing a Rolex, that as the product placement is jarring, right?
Andy's not the type of guy who is rocking his Rolex. You know what I mean?
Right? Dude's got a Casio that has a calculator on it.
Yes,
and he doesn't know how to use it.
Absolutely, yes. And I think that feels again very intentional to highlight the incongruity of product placement while doing it a lot as a commentary on it.
Yeah, I think in addition to that, it is also saying the cops benefit a lot from this work. The regular guys, it gets them killed.
Yeah.
You know?
And my other note on the scene, the fog feels so ominous now, and we get the little ends of Laura Palmer's theme. The
oh my God, how did I miss this?
As we fade in, and it's her stoplight. It's the Sparkwood in 21, and again in terms of the show continuing to feel haunted, that at her stoplight now again someone is missing, presumably killed.
Wow.
Yeah. I really like it.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Sadie?
Yes?
I'm so thrilled that you have this next scene because that means I can take the one last bite of my taco.
Fuck yeah. You have your taco bite and I will tell us about the next scene. So, as requested by him, Mr. C is brought into Warden Murphy's office. He sits down and is handcuffed to the chair and he's like, I turned off the security camera. We can speak in privacy. And he takes out his gun to just be like, why the fuck do you know about Mr. Strawberry? And we learn about Mr. C's craziest blackmail technique. So he says, Remember the dog legs? There was one with me. The other 3 were sent out with information about the thing you're thinking about. People you don't want coming around if something happens to me. Like, it is very effective, but what a crazy way to do your blackmail by being like, the blackmail is with the dog legs.
Completely nuts.
It's so good. The warden like calls his bluff and is like, how do I know you know anything about this? And he just says, Joe McCluskey, which is a silly name.
Yes, it is. But it's also like a realistic some guy name.
Yeah. And okay, first of all, I'm going to say that this made me immediately think of, which is one of my favorite bullshit Star Wars facts.
Okay.
So you may be familiar with the scene in the original Star Wars where Han Solo shoots the alien Greedo in a bar.
Yeah.
And famously, when they did the like specialized edition, they made the alien shoot first, which is kind of silly because he misses despite being right there. And it's the whole thing of like, Han shot first, da 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 da. You know,
right.
We don't need to, like, we can believe he's a bad guy or whatever. In 2019, when they put it on Disney Plus, George Lucas, in his infinite wisdom, made one more change. He said, this isn't enough. Before this guy gets shot and dies as he shoots, his last word, McClunky. Please observe my screen share.
Okay.
For my dead body.
Yes,
I bet you have.
McClunky.
McClunky. So
wait, they changed that?
George Lucas silently was like, when it goes on Disney Plus, let's add one more change. He says McClunky and then dies.
That's so stupid. Why?
Just the warden sitting here with him. He's like, you know, just imagining Mr. C going, McClunky. Joe McClunky, and then the warden shoots him.
That's really good.
Anyway, that out of the way, it is a very good, scary thing to just say a guy's name, and then he's like, oh, fuck, this is for real.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want a car, cheap rental, I want a gun in the glove compartment, and me and Ray Monroe will go out, and you'll never see me again. I don't give a shit about you, and no one will know anything about Joe McCluskey or your late Mr. Strawberry.
You're late, Mr. Strawberry. So do we think Gordon Murphy killed this guy?
My assumption is that either he was somehow, along with Joe McCluskey, involved in the death of a Mr. Strawberry in some way that is not clear.
Mr. Strawberry as a kind of pseudonym, first of all, it's like, you know, the sweetness of it kind of makes me expect that the crime would be something especially vile. Also makes me think like, this is a guy who needs a pseudonym. You know, this is like some high up, powerful guy.
Yeah.
I'm just really wondering what it is that is being like blackmailed about here.
Yeah.
You know, what is this whole web of things?
It is a perfect level of detail to make us go, what the fuck? And not tell us. I think telling us that it's about a dead Mr. Strawberry and a Joe McCluskey is great. And yeah, this guy's going to be on to loose, I guess. That's kind of all I have there. It's kind of a moving the plot forward. But do we want to check in on Dougie?
Let's check in on Dougie. Yeah. Okay.
So Dougie's at work. Janie E is outside being like, where the fuck is he? I'm supposed to pick him up. And she clomps on over. But Dougie, well, he's very busy making scratches with his pen on the folder. It's his favorite thing to do now. That guy, Anthony Sinclair, who he may have incriminated, is standing there like, come on, Dougie, is there a reason you're not talking to me? But it's really like the vibe of, again, Dale in the Black Lodge, when sometimes there's just an entity that's making sounds and you just got to keep doing what you're doing. You know, he's like, I don't know, sometimes there's a guy there and he's just kind of saying things. I don't care about that. I care about scratching with my pen.
You know what it makes me think of? Like how his total lack of reaction just has this guy kind of lose his composure.
Yeah.
It makes me think of that scene from The Good Doctor. Like, I am a doctor.
Oh my God.
Do you know this one?
I have seen that scene on like Twitter back in the day, and that is all I know about it.
Yeah, same. I don't endorse. Also, as someone who had a crush on the guy who plays the good doctor.
That's crazy.
Like as a child, you know, because he was like a child actor.
That's so
that
funny.
Was embarrassing. Anyway, his total lack of reaction is very funny.
Yeah.
Colleague dude is like falling apart. Anyway,
yeah.
Carry on.
So, and just Janie E, just such a good job at just stomping around in this show.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, his secretary comes in and is like, the police are here for you. And Anthony Sinclair, his colleague, says the most incriminating sentence a guy could say. Police, that reminds me of a call I have to make. And leaves.
This guy's a moron.
3 policemen come in. The one guy says, we're the detectives Fusco, which I assume means that they're all brothers.
The detectives Fusco? That's what they say?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious.
It's really, really good. They're the blowjob brothers. They come in and Ducky's like, oh, badge. Janie E comes in and is like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm trying to pick him up. We're trying to go home. And like, where's your car? He's like, we don't know. It's stolen. And there's an extended scene. And this is again where it feels to me like again preoccupation with aging, because the whole scene is like them asking questions and like Janie E being like, it was stolen, right? And he goes, stolen, because he's just repeating what people say. And it's like, it does feel like someone who has a like elderly relative that they're trying to like make talk through something, or like, trying to get them to say what you want them to say, to get through something. There are really a lot of ways in which the way Dougie is makes me think of a person developing dementia or something. But Janie E gives a truly wonderful little speech, because they're like, blah, 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 cars, and he's like, well, you know what? There's more to life than cars. Too many cars, too much going on, lots of stress lately. And if you want to know the truth, he's been under a lot of stress, and so have I. It's so funny. And then his boss, Bushnell, just kind of wanders in the background at one point. I didn't even see him enter the scene at first, but he just like speaks up. He's like, what's going on? I'm his boss. It's like, it's so funny. Then they finally reveal why they are being cagey and wanted to know so much about his car, because they're like, it freaking exploded. To like 3 casualties. And I love Janie E's response. She's like, why didn't you tell us that in the first place? He's like, the deceased individuals are tied to a gang with multiple car thefts. And she just goes, well, there's your answer.
Like dumbasses.
Oh, it's so good. I love like there's kind of like one of the cops wants to keep grilling him, and the other one is like, don't worry, ma'am, you can go home. There's paperwork, but you can fill it out another day. She's like, we have to go to our son, and in case you think we're neglecting him, he's being watched by a neighbor as a favor. And I love finally, as they're leaving, one of the cops, one of the Fusco brothers, is like, I guess you won't have any trouble collecting on that insurance. And the other cops are like, ha, 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 great insurance joke, brother.
I really love Janie in this scene. Like she's really grown on me, Yeah. Between this and the whole like negotiating for the money thing. Like she's a woman with morals. We are the 99%, she says. And she is like actually meaningfully like a protector of her family.
Yeah, I agree.
She's ready to say, no, I'm not a bad mother. Thank you. My neighbor is watching the son as a favor. She's just like, her confidence is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we have a very special scene.
Yeah, I claim this one, but do you want to take it?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I fucking love this scene. Janie E's had such a long day, and it's going to get longer, because as they are leaving, she's like, now, Dougie, no more gambling. I swear to goodness. And who comes out through the crowd but Ike the Spike? Except, and maybe this is what did him in, he doesn't have his spike, because I guess it got bent last time. He has a gun.
They call him actually, the gun.
Before all this, sorry, rewind. I have one note on the previous scene. I like how the establishing shot of this scene is the statue of the sheriff with a gun that he was so drawn to last episode, or on a previous episode. It's interesting that we cut from the warden holding the gun on Mr. C to this sheriff with the gun. Like, the sheriff with the gun, it really was like, Dougie Dale's like fantasy of like the lawman. And it's complicated here by being like this corrupt warden,
Yes, absolutely. It kind of gives like, what's it, Dr. Volt? Fucking
Dr. Amp.
Dr. Amp saying like, where are the police when you need them, right?
Yeah. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Ike the Spike shows up and he's gonna get Dougie, except no, he's not, because Dougie kicks into fucking like ultra instinct attack mode. He throws Ike aside and he's like, pressing him down on the ground. And then the arm, or the evolution of the arm, as it was introduced to us, shows up. He like chops the guy in the neck, and the evolution of the arm is like, squeeze his hand off, squeeze his hand off.
So fucking weird.
Yeah, it's crazy. And, you know, finally with another karate chop to the neck, Ike is like, I've had enough of this shit. I am getting out of here. It follows up into an even crazier scene, but I want to talk about like just this bit of it first.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
like as like before and after, as Janie's like, oh my God, are you okay? We get this like industrial, like clanging drone, like a much more like clang clang type of drone than we've got before. And Dougie really does like spring into action. It is really interesting, as like what is kicking in here is like a mix of like Dale Cooper and Black Lodge influence.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Like obviously we've been seeing the Black Lodge help Dale along for quite a while, but like here it's so direct. Here it's like literally saving his life. And I just have to think, like, what are the implications of the Lodge partnering with Dale? Because when we've seen other people partner with the Lodge, it's to be monstrous.
Yeah. Like it feels like he could squeeze his arm off. Like we see later the gun with like bits of like chunk of flesh like stuck to it.
Yeah, fucking crazy.
Like it is like giving him like superhuman strength in a way that is monstrous.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting that like Dougie has been such a like hee Dougie Jones, haha, coffee, what? But like also as we're seeing here is like wedding himself more and more to the Lodge, and like really I don't know what to make of it ways.
Absolutely troubling. Okay, another thing I noticed about his like his maybe supernatural abilities here, before Ike comes out and like the scene really explodes, Dougie is like mouthing some things like kind of off to himself. Did you notice this?
I didn't. Yeah, it's true.
As Janie is speaking, and I can't make out what he's saying, but I get the sense that he has like a bit of an aura of this or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. And then the scene becomes crazy.
Yeah.
And like, honestly, I forgot about this because it starts doing a formal thing, several of them, that the show has never done before. It becomes like interview montage. Like all of a sudden we're seeing it being shot through the film cameras. Like it does a shaky cam as it sets up. We're seeing Janie E being like, he came up on Dougie and he chopped him in the throat. And I said, get off, and kicked him and punched him. And it's a really funny shot of like, she's like, Dougie just took care of business, right, baby? As he's just kind of reaching out for the officer's badge. She just grabs his hand and takes it away. But it like zooms in on that as like shaky cam. Like it's shot all of a sudden like The Office or like a YouTube like street interview thing. It's crazy. Like we're getting interview shots with all these people, just random people that were there, but it's like doing like reality TV like confessionals, or like The Office style like mockumentary confessionals. You know, one woman just being like, it was terrible, and we like shaky pan down to her daughter, like, he ran right at me, almost knocked me down. The daughter says he smelled funny. One woman has, I think, the funniest move. She's like, victim? No, he wasn't like a victim. Douglas Jones. How does she know his full Christian name? He moved like a cobra. All I saw was a blur. And then we get the shot of the chunk of flesh on the gun is like, we're seeing a shot of the gun with the flesh on it with like a gloved hand coming to inspect it. And there's like a spotlight effect. Like,
yeah, there
like
is,
part of the screen is like highlighted to show the flesh being lifted, which is like
so weird,
crazy. It's like it is like, even in the stylistic changes that we've had, doing something like this is like entirely outside of the show's like vocabulary. It's crazy. It feels like, I read Moby Dick last year. It feels like there's bits in Moby Dick where it's just a book. It's just written like novel, like as prose. And then all of a sudden there's a chapter that's like it just breaks into like being like a play. Like it's written with like stage directions and like the character's name and then their dialogue. And this feels like that. It feels like all of a sudden we've just decided that just for this scene, we are changing the kind of show that it is and taking on like conventions of like something entirely different. And it's crazy.
Yeah, it fills the role of a typical like newscast scene where like I feel like usually you get like the reporter on screen, they're like, we're on the scene now, and then they interview people, and it's all like very predictable. It's filling that role, but it is not actually doing that. It's doing something much like more frantic and stranger.
Yeah. It really feels like a mockumentary or like YouTube video, like street interview thing. And honestly, I think this is my favorite scene of the episode for how much it's like, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah, it's nuts. He smelled funny. Has implications, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Burnt engine oil.
Yeah, true. Oh my God, I love that.
Smell is only commented on, I think, when it's like Bob is near, basically.
Do you think that's Ike, or do you think that's like Dougie started to smell like burnt engine oil when he entered like squeeze his arm off like Black Lodge chop mode?
Oh, that's so interesting. Going off the fact that they do say he smelled funny, that feels straightforward enough that I do want to say it was Ike.
Yeah.
That could be a misdirect, but it is interesting to think of like, what if Ike the Spike is a Mr. C type character?
Yeah. And either way, I think it's like so interesting that in the same episode where we're really getting very like frank look at how horrifying it is for Mr. C to be out there in the world, we're seeing like silly Dougie Jones. He moved like a cobra. Like he also like, I mean, it's goofy, but it is like Dale Dougie is also has the potential for violence and evil, and like he's not a victim, and like maybe he smelled like burnt engine oil. Yeah, it's really wild.
It really is.
And then the show's back to its normal vocabulary because then we're at the Great Northern. It's crazy.
Yeah, basically. This is an intriguing one. Okay. This is Beverly, who's Ben's secretary or assistant or something. They have some really strong, rapport between the two of them.
We saw her, I think, in the first or second episode.
Yeah.
Who Jerry was like, "You're fucking her, right?"
And he was like, "She's a beautiful soul, and I'm married," or something like that. So Beverly basically has been hearing this like strange sound, and she calls Ben's attention to it. It's just like this high-pitched, not exactly whining. It's almost more like, when you have a crystal glass and you run your finger around the edge. It's like a very pleasant high-pitched sound. And they're just trying to like localize it in Ben's office. At first it seems like it's in one corner, but then they go to that corner and it seems like it's in the opposite corner. So they go over there. Then they're like, no, it's in the other one after all. So crazy. The whole time they just want to fuck like animals. They like, their chemistry is crazy. And the scene is so tense because of it. But they are very pointedly not cheating with each other.
Yeah.
Ben at the end of this is like, well, guess it's pretty late. We should be going. And they get on like a first name basis. They go like Beverly, Ben. And then that's the scene, except the final shot is a deep and fast zoom into the wood of the wall in the corner.
Yeah. I mean, a couple things here. The like sound is not quite the same, but very evocative of the like ringing sound that would signal spiritual activity in the original run. And I think how much it is like showing it, like the zoom in on the wood, really makes me think of the like spirits in the wood Josie of it all.
Yeah, that's definitely what I thought of too. I would be surprised if we really like literally call back to Josie in this season. But now that we know that souls can be in wood, it definitely does feel like this is like some presence within the wood itself. And that's also why it's not localizable. It's not in a place, it is the place. Right?
The chemistry is created by them solving a mystery together. And also that they keep having to go and stand in like tight corners together, like creating this intimacy. It really is doing it in such a way to like highlight the tension. And I will say again, I mentioned this back in episode 2, but I think it feels very pointed, her being played by Ashley Judd.
Remind me who she is.
Was a early like woman who spoke up quite early about Weinstein, and was like experienced reprisals from Weinstein because of this. So
Yes.
that casting feels very intentional in terms of this thing of like Ben being like, I'm not sleeping with my subordinate.
Yeah. Shout out to him. He has genuinely grown.
Yeah.
The other thing that happens in this scene is the key thing.
Yeah.
Which is that key that, well, you mentioned this in the recap, but Jade sent the hotel key in the mail at one point. It's finally arrived. Ben gives it a look and he's like, oh my God, room 315. First of all, this has to be over 20 years old because it's a key and not a card. Second, this is the room that Dale Cooper was shot in. And so they have like a little moment of like, who's Dale Cooper? Who's Laura Palmer? But they don't really talk about it in depth.
Well, I think that's actually a really important moment because I think it's like the sense of aging in this show, of like, there was a point in time where no one in town didn't know about who Laura Palmer was,
It's true.
And you can really see in him like the way of like, wow, it's been 25 years. Someone can be here and be like, who's Laura Palmer? Is like crazy, and like that is such a real thing of like how aging works. And like, you know what I mean? When you mention something and someone's like, what? I say this at 30, but you know what I mean? Like it's such a real way of showing like that time has passed.
Sure.
It feels similar to Sheriff Truman being kind of like, oh yeah, I heard about that. Like at the beginning, like it feels very grounded.
Right. It's all getting further away.
Yeah. And then we get the kind of follow-up to this scene when Beverly goes home.
Yeah. Oh, this is so compelling. Okay. Beverly comes home. She's met at the door by a woman named... I don't actually have her name written down here, but she's...
a lady. I don't know that we even get her name.
She's either like a neighbor or friend, or I think more likely like a home care nurse.
Yeah, that's my read.
She basically says to Beverly, like, he misses you. He really misses you. And Beverly looks kind of like tired or drained by this fact. She gets inside. Her husband, Tom, is in the living room. He's got like a hospital bed set up and he is sitting in a chair, maybe a wheelchair with like, he's sort of small and frail and he doesn't have any hair and he's got like an oxygen thing in his nose. She greets him in a warm, friendly way. And he is like, where were you? Oh, actually starts with, he's like, I heard you drive up, which I think implies that she actually arrived a few minutes ago, but was like stealing herself in the car for a second.
Yeah.
And like could have been home a little bit sooner.
Yeah.
But she kind of brushes past that, is trying to be sweet. Like, are you hungry? How are you? And he's like a little, well, he's definitely not pleased that she was out of the house, but also maybe like a little suspicious of malfeasance, wrongdoing. She kind of like blows up on him. She kind of goes really big. I'm like so conflicted on how to read this, because on one hand, like the stress of being a caregiver is crazy, and I've seen like very good people behave in surprisingly cruel ways in this context, you know. But also, it does feel, as much as like her husband is not really doing anything to like on the level of intensity as this, he is being manipulative. Like the nurse says, he's hungry, but he waited for you. And then Tom, the husband, says like, oh no, I'm not really hungry. It's clearly to make her feel guilty for staying out, right?
Yeah. It's a very short scene, but it is very like lived in and empathetic in that way. Like you really feel his perspective of like, I'm fucking sick. I'm here all alone. I don't like when I am without you for another couple hours. And I think it's maybe because you're having an affair. Like he doesn't have many ways to really do anything about that. And not eating is, he's kind of just reaching for one of his only ways to do anything. And then she's like, don't fuck with me, And I love her. Like, I didn't want to go back to work. I'm so lucky to have this job to support us both. And that really, I think, also colors the previous scene. It makes it seem like her being like, I think all of this colors the previous scene. Because like, again, in a way that is not demonizing to him, you can understand why she might be interested in having an affair. If like this relationship has become so fraught, he is not there for her in the way that presumably he was before he was sick. It's funny, at first when we saw it, we're talking with the nurse, I assumed it was her dad, but it's not. And like, that's very, I think, really speaks to like how this kind of caregiver stress can build up, right? Is that she doesn't, it feels like she's talking about him like a dad and not like a husband. But it also makes it like with how she's like, do you know how lucky I am to have this job? It kind of makes it feel like she knows Ben Horne's reputation and is being a bit flirty to make sure she keeps the job. Right?
Oh, wow. Maybe. I mean, I would say 100% yes if she was like historically embedded in this town and like was around 25 years ago, but it doesn't seem like she was.
Yeah.
But that's either way, the power dynamic there is very real.
Yeah.
It's super interesting.
Like, I think in the previous scene, it really just felt like they have a like even ground and mutual chemistry. And again, with casting Ashley Judd and everything, it feels very pointed to complicate that by showing how fraught her relationship with her husband is and how big the stakes are on her keeping that job.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting.
It's such a compelling scene. It does really feel like, the thing I was talking about in earlier episodes, like there is no mama or there is no container. Like they're basically on their own in this.
Yeah.
Even if she wanted to stay home and take care of him, it's not an option for her. She's been forced into this position of working that she doesn't want to be doing. That's another thing. Like the fact that she has the hotel job at all is like an unpleasant reality for her.
Yeah. And it is just such a like brief and truly like very impressively lived in an empathetic look at like we see just in this very short scene. I think it is very understandable where they're both coming from and how this is difficult for both of them and why they are both acting the way that they are. Yeah.
It's really excellent. I think this is my fave of the episode, probably.
Yeah.
But I've said my piece. Do you want to move on?
Yeah. Then we get one of my favorite scenes in this season. We're at the Roadhouse.
Really?
Yeah. What happens at the Roadhouse? We all know 3 straight minutes of a guy sweeping up while not Jacques Renault is at the bar doing bar math or whatever the fuck. Because there's another bit of the scene that he actually has an exchange, but like this, I think, is the ultimate of David Lynch. Like what you're saying earlier is like, just, we need 18 episodes. And why? Because this episode needs to be an hour long. Why? Because we need an extra 3 minutes of just a guy sweeping. Like, it's so great. I think there was an interview with David Lynch where he was like, before kind of like having a capital C career, I believe, like had a job maybe at a bar where he just like remembered doing a lot of monotonous sweeping stuff up and wanted to put something in that's just like that reflects that. But like, I really love it just as a like, the show insists on having the pacing that it wants to. And when it's time to spend literally 3 minutes watching a guy sweeping, that's what we're doing, I really love it. I love your note on the sweeping.
Oh, yeah. How the fuck is the floor this dirty? Did we all dance on a bag of chips? Like,
so
it's like full baguettes worth of breadcrumbs are on this floor.
Yeah.
I do have another thing to say about like these really long drawn out sequences, which is so that Jeff Fiat video I mentioned, he says like how this shows people that characters have like a life outside the show. I guess this is kind of doing that. It's kind of showing you like the Roadhouse is something that exists all the time. And you're going to be around for not just the party, but the cleanup. But I think it's also about like creating sort of an empty space, like a negative space where your thoughts can kind of wander. You have a second to process the episode, but also like you see the actor who played Jacques Renault, total absolute dirtbag, and you know that this guy is about to do the same. So it does give you a second for like a dread to mount, which I think is effective.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like interesting because it's like we're seeing behind the scenes, we're seeing like we hear like maybe the band practicing like before the show, and we don't actually get a final like Roadhouse show scene this episode.
Yeah, it's weird.
We see this instead. And it's like also kind of, I think, calls to mind like sweeping under the rug. But I think like for how much we've seen the Roadhouse in almost every episode so far, there is a band that plays at the end and it's the spectacle and it ends the episode. And I think it's really interesting to then see it as like it is the behind the scenes, and that the Roadhouse, it again, like this was very much made very clear in Fire Walk with Me, but like, and well, honestly, we've seen this already. Like, in terms of things other than seeing a band play on stage, like we had that one scene of Shelley being like, James was always cool. But then we've seen Richard Horne like grab a woman and be like, I will rape you. And now we have this scene. We're really, again, not shying away from the grim underbelly of it. It's being very pointed about it. And what happens is Jean-Michel Renaud gets a phone call. He picks it up and he's like, yeah, of course he loved it. Who wouldn't? And a pause. What? And he says angrily, 2. And we find out that this call is about this guy being like, the girls that you sent me were 15, which he's like, they had good IDs, but it's like, girl, you fucking knew they were 15.
You
like,
knew they were 15.
Come on. And the things he's saying are just appalling. Again, there is like none of the sheen of crime from the original run. Like we would see criminals and they'd be like saying things that are kind of epic. You know what I mean? Or they'd be like, I'll meet you at midnight. You better watch out. No, he's just here to say, like, these 15-year-old girls, they're whores, pure and simple. I don't know their names. Yeah. He wanted blondes. I gave him blondes. But from what I heard, they were straight A whores. He owes me for 2.
No, it's
appalling.
It's so vile. It does feel, it's so funny that they killed Bernard Renaud and then, or Jacques Renaud, whichever one it was, and then brought back his identical twin brother.
Yeah.
But like, Bite the Bullet Baby in the original run has the same feeling where it's like he thinks he's being cool, but he is actually pathetic.
No, and it's just so grimy, and it's because he says like, oh, you know, we're not going to lose the Roadhouse because of 2 girls. It feels like maybe he's like negotiating with like a cop. Like why? Like I don't know if this is just the whatever client he's talking with is like, you could get in trouble for this. It feels like in some capacity, whoever he's talking with could have the ability to make him lose the Roadhouse. And, you know, we know that these people have their ins with law enforcement. We've seen that in Fire Walk With Me and in this season already with fucking Chad. But it does feel like there's something going on there. But yeah, it's just such a like unglamorous, just despicable scene of him just being like, what? They had good IDs, and then immediately lapsing into calling them despicable things and joking about them being straight A whores. Like, it's appalling.
I know. And it's like, this was part of what ended up killing Laura. And there are just an endless supply of more. Like, to him, it's a Tuesday, you know? His family is going to keep doing this to, like, more and more women.
And also, Laura was 18. Now it's 15-year-olds, you know? Yeah. Like, it's even... And what gets me is also the guy sweeping up just keeps sweeping up. He is not fazed by this.
No.
God. Ugh. Yeah.
Oof.
It's fucking... It is fucking rough. Anyway, we then get a little scene, which is... Mr. C being let out of jail per his agreement. My only note on this one is there are, like, I think at least 2 guards that we see doing this, which shows that it's not just the warden who has his, like, corruption. He has his guards that are willing to help him let a guy out because he wants, you know?
It's true. And they have a system down. Like, it's all very neat and organized. Yeah. And maybe this is not the first time they've done this.
Yeah. And, you know, he gets the car. He drives off with Ray. We get a, like, black screen and a few moments of, like, that whir scratch of electricity.
Oh, yeah.
And at first I was like, I guess that's the episode. But it's not. We have another little final scene, which is at the double R, as the credits actually roll.
Weird little fake out.
Yeah. And we have, like, a very 50s song playing. And a guy runs in, and the subtitles that were initially released, I don't know which ones you have, actually have an error. In the subtitles, the guy runs in and says, has anyone seen Bing? And I wrote, what is this, Microsoft Edge? But actually, the guy running in is Bing. And we know that because he's played by Riley Lynch, David Lynch's son, who was in the band from a couple episodes ago. But he actually runs in and says, has anyone seen Billy?
Yeah, okay, which Billy is Amanda Seyfried's boyfriend, right?
No, he plays Steven. Steven is Amanda Seyfried's boyfriend.
You know, he looks more like a Billy.
He does look like a Billy. No, Billy is not a name that we have heard at all before now.
Okay.
I'll tell you something. I'll tell you in a very oblique way. We will have people in the future have things to say about Billy. The name Billy will be said again. We have not seen a Billy. We're not going to talk about Billy. We're not going to talk about Billy at all. Which, by the way, let's continue to keep in mind that that Judy stuff happened and has also not been said explicitly at all so far.
Oh my God, yeah. Huh.
Yeah. Anyway, so something that I will say, this is definitely something that people online have speculated, but I'm going to say it because I think it is also something that I would think just from watching this episode is that guy with the truck who wasn't named and went missing, is he Billy? Is that why they're like, did anyone see Billy? And then runs out? I don't know. I don't think that that's set in stone by any means, though.
Okay. Interesting.
Because the guy sure is just credited as Farmer.
There wasn't Riley Lynch credited in another episode? Like, wasn't he? Didn't we catch him in the credits a couple episodes ago?
Well, he was in the band at one point, right?
Oh, yeah. That's funny.
And now he plays Bing.
But I didn't see him. I didn't catch him.
But it makes you think for Bing to be the character who's searching for someone. Maybe a little product placement as well.
Well, that seems like a perfect note to end it on.
Yep, that's the episode.
That's the episode.
A little bird told me that you did have a dream.
Sadie, I had one of my greatest dreams of all time. It's not even, when I say greatest, I didn't enjoy it at all. Okay, so you know, although I'm not sure our listeners do, that I don't really just have dreams. I have like hypnopompic hallucinations or hypnagogic, I forget which one. Basically, when I'm waking up, like half awake in the middle of the night, I will often like see things in my room and then they go away within like a few minutes. It's almost always that I think there's like an animal in the house. I will think that there's like a stray cat that got in or a big spider, or I'll think that one of my cats is somewhere that it's not. This was the most elaborate one I've ever had. And I'm not even really sure where it came from because I don't think I dreamt about this, but I woke up at 2:45 in the morning last week with, I'm just going to read you what I wrote here.
Okay.
I texted you this because I needed to keep a record of it.
You messaged it and said, Lily Dream, Sadie, no read. And then it's all spoilers. So I have not read it until now.
Thank you. No, I was totally falling asleep. Okay. I have spent the last 15 minutes trying to keep myself awake out of a belief that my being awake right now is a mechanic in a TV show I created.
Oh, wow.
A contestant on the show was going to come by my house at 3 a.m. and I needed to be there to give them something. The issue here...
I love that you can tell you wrote this as you were falling asleep because it just says, and I needed.
The issue here is that I couldn't remember who the contestant was or even what the show was, so I couldn't I couldn't look it up to find their phone number or whatever.
Wow.
So I was just sitting there trying desperately to like keep myself awake for like 15 or 20 minutes as I tried to like divine this TV show contestant's email address just absorb it from the universe. It was miserable. I was so stressed out. And finally I decided, like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to walk over to my front window and see if they're there. And as I was walking back, because they were not there, I was like, huh.
You were getting up and walking around and still feeling this.
Yes. Yeah. This happens often.
Wow. So it's not sleep paralysis. It's something else.
No. I'm always mobile when this is happening.
Oh, wow.
It's frequently like I'll see an animal and I'll go look for the animal, you know?
That's so funny.
But in this case, as I'm walking back, I'm like looking around and I'm like, I think if I had created a game show, I would have a nicer apartment.
So funny.
And that broke the curse.
Wow. I love that.
I don't know how we can use this to predict Twin Peaks, although like being awake is a mechanic in a TV show.
Yeah.
That's a little bit Twin Peaks, sure.
I had a dream that my parents became cult leaders and I was like, that's no good.
Oh no.
And the thing that made me know that it's no good is they were like, here's what we're doing now. To feed our cats and also my cats in this dream, we're just going to put all of the dry food in a big pile on the floor. And I was like, there are so many ants. There's a lot of ants that are going to go. And they're like, that's not an issue. And I was like, this is fucked up. Their cult leader mentality has made them not think about the ants. I got to do something about this. And that was my dream.
That's awesome. I love it.
Anyway, so shall we do next time on Twin Peaks?
Yeah.
So last time our predictions were Ike the Spike takes a taxi to Lucky 7 Insurance. The driver notices he's covered in blood, but tries to bond with him about it. Messy day, huh? He tries to stab Dougie, but it doesn't work because of his bent spike. Well, that was kind of that part, you know, there's something there.
In a way.
Young intern coffee guy is like, run, Dougie, run. And he runs for the first time in his life to the elevator. The hook-shaped nature of the spike hooks the elevator door open. Cliffhanger ending. Not true. He went Ultra Instinct mode.
Yeah, that was so killer.
Also, we said Philip Gerard planted some hints of how to defeat Bob in the bathroom stall door in case he could not return in the physical world. The paper will spontaneously combust while read aloud. This will make Hawk think of how Margaret's husband died in a fire. Somehow the mill and fire-related evils are contained in this, and it's the real mill ledger from season 1. The police station briefly catches fire, but is dealt with by a brave Andy. Lucy swoons. That's the episode. No, it was the diary that we knew about from Fire Walk With Me, and I tried so hard.
You really tried, but I don't remember saying any of that.
That's so funny. Well, and for what it's worth, our one on ice was that Diane will have an idyllic idea of Dale, and that is also being shot in the head. Sorry, today your predictions are fucked. Anyway, what happens next time on Twin Peaks?
Next time on Twin Peaks, I go fuck myself and I never record a podcast again.
Fuck,
I'm
no.
retiring. Okay, what actually happens? Here's the thing. Episode 8 of Twin Peaks The Return is the most discussed TV episode of the last 10 years. So I kind of know a lot about it. If not the plot, at least the aesthetic, the context, what makes it unique, and so on. So as we all know, episode 8 of Twin Peaks The Return is set in the 1970s at the height of disco. Everything is bright orange, purple, and green. The woodsman he's running the most popular dance program on color television. He's green.
Okay.
And then it's an alternate timeline where the Cold War actually happens. Wait, no,
what?
It did.
Girl, what are you saying? What do you mean?
Where the hold on. Where the Cold War goes hot and the Soviets nuke Baltimore, where all this is taking place.
Okay. Yeah, it's also a crossover with the oh my god, I'm forgetting his fucking name. The gay director. All of his movies are in Baltimore. He's very campy.
John Waters.
Yeah, it's a crossover with the John Waters cinematic universe.
Love that. So yeah, the Soviets nuke everything. It's all very colorful and everyone won't stop talking.
So, here's what I've gathered. Lily knows about episode 8 of Twin Peaks: The Return. It's very colorful. There's a nuclear something, and time is weird. Do you how much of it? Okay, well, the alternate timeline, who knows? But that would be crazy if the show broke that out. But anyway, are you going to speculate a B plot, or is that it?
This is a famously focused episode of television, and nothing else happens.
Okay, nothing else happens. Well, folks, we all know what happens in part 8 of Twin Peaks: The Return because it's such a famous episode. We've all absorbed it culturally through osmosis. It's set in the 1970s at the height of disco. The woodsman is running the most popular dance program on color television. He's green. And also the Cold War goes hot and the Soviets nuke Baltimore, where all this is happening. And then I just wrote in brackets, John Waters cinematic universe. It's all very colorful and everyone won't stop talking. So folks, that is what you can look forward to next time.
Next time on Twin Peaks.
Yeah. Well,
hey, look at us go. Sub 3 hour.
Sub 3 hour. No problem.
No problem. It's easy.
I'm very curious about how long our next episode will be, because it is a weird episode in a way that we could talk about it for more than 3 hours, but maybe we'll talk about it fast as fuck. I have genuinely no idea.
Interesting. Send in your predictions.
Yes.
Place a bet on polymarket.gov.
Oh my god. .gov.
At this point, girl. Well, that's the show. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Favorite bet at polymarket.qc.ca.
Polymarket.
Bye.
TSTV is hosted by Sadie Avery Lake and yours truly, Lily Alexander. Our music is by Jamie Page, show art is by Maya Fernandez-Giles, and this episode was edited by Mary Chan at Organized Sound Productions. If you have any burning questions or comments for us, please send us an email at hello@tstv.show. We would love to hear from you. Thanks for listening.
Hello, it's Sadie. I'm here with the content warnings for Twin Peaks The Return, Part 8, also known as Got a Light? Big one. We have been giving flashing light content warnings. This one is like times 100. This is, I think, the biggest like photosensitivity content warning. There's an extended stretch of this episode that will be a lot of flashing images and stuff. Be ready for that. Also, some gore. It gets goopy. Also, big focus on the nuclear bomb imagery that we have seen hinted at up until now, which I say just because it's, I guess, a particularly charged expression of the violence that is kind of suffusing this season. So yeah, flashing lights, goopy gore, and big nuclear bomb time. Okay, that is all. Enjoy. Bye.